Hello, good afternoon, Anika, Kavita, and Tarunika. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Which parts of the country, which of you are from?
We are from Kentucky.
Kavita is from Kentucky,
Tarunika is from Michigan.
Michigan. Okay, awesome. And Anika,
I'm from New York.
New York. Okay, awesome. We have another one just joining, Mahit. Hi, Mahit, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hi, which part of the country you are from, Mahit?
repeat that, please.
I was asking which part of the country are you from?
I'm from Georgia.
Georgia. Okay. Are you from Atlanta?
Yeah,
Awesome. Okay. I'm from Atlanta too. Just chatting with all the participants. All right. We have Mahit, Anika, Kavita, Tarunika, and two more just joined. Sanand and Shekhar. Can you hear me, Sanand and Shekhar?
Yep.
Yes,
Where
yes,
are
I
you
can
from,
hear.
Sanand?
I'm from Chicago.
Sanand is from Chicago. And how about you, Shekhar? And Sibi?
California.
California. Okay. All right. We have participation from all over the country, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, everywhere. That's great. All right, so everybody can hear me. So let's get started. Let me share my screen. So let me ask you, each of you, what's your expectation from today's webinar, so that I can make sure the I present on different topics within the education field each week. Today's current session, the focus is on ELA, English Language Arts, but also give overview of all other courses. At 3 p.m. EST, we'll be presenting on SAT, ACT, PSAT, etc. But from each of your perspectives, is there anything specific that you're looking for? Or, I'll definitely talk about ELA and about other courses overview, but I would like to hear from you. What are you looking for?
Hi, Ram.
This is
Yeah, go ahead, Kavita.
my son is 7th grade, and I'm looking for what we should do to improve his writing skills, especially in view of essay writing in near future.
Okay, that's great. Let me just make a few notes.
Yeah, I'm also same thing like that. My kid is in 7th grade. So just what can we improve and for SAT and other things. So what kind of fundamentals we need to improve?
Yep. All right. Makes sense. Thank you, Kavita and Sanand, if I got the name correct. Yeah. How about anybody
Yeah,
else?
Sanand is my kid name, but actually my name is Ramesh. So I think it looks like Zoom registered as.
No
Yeah.
problem, Ramesh. Got
Yeah,
it.
my name is Ramesh. Yep.
Okay, Ramesh. Got it. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. All right. So I hope all of you are in the same line, but feel free to ask questions. I will pause between the slides. I would like this to be an interactive session, so you don't need to wait until the end. If you have any questions, feel free to ask questions anytime. The couple of you just joined, Rakshana and someone on iPhone, Shriram. Welcome. So welcome to Mels Academy Sunday webinars. So this particular webinar, as I mentioned, we start with an overview of ELA, why ELA, and why I'm talking about specifically ELA. We'll talk about that, and I will also give an overview of other courses if anybody is looking for something else. Okay. So first, let me start with a quick overview of what is Mels Academy, because many of you seem to be new to Mels Academy. So we're an educational academy based in Atlanta, Georgia. We're 10-year-old. We just finished our 10th anniversary this summer. And although we are based in Atlanta, we are virtual. So we used to have 2 locations in Atlanta, but with the pandemic, now everything is virtual, and we'll probably continue that way. So we have students equally represented from all across the country. And our mission is to help bring the best out of every child. Every child we believe is bestowed with an infinite potential in probably various areas and different areas. And our mission is to help bring the best out of every child, and also equip parents to, we can't do it ourselves. That's why we sometimes conduct webinars like this for parents. And if some of your students who are attending, that's great, but maybe invite your parent as well, because this is more geared towards adults, your children. So if you happen to be a student, you're welcome to stay, but you also, it'll be good if you invite your parents, because they will probably find it more useful. So now, about 2,000 years back, this gentleman, his name is Plutarch, as a Greek gentleman, but lived during the Roman period. He said, mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be ignited. And how true, as true today as ever was. In fact, some of you might have read, if you haven't read, there's a great book called Ignited Minds by one of the past presidents of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. In fact, a happy Independence Day for those of you from India. Most of you probably, from the names I can see, originated from India, but so am I. So happy Independence Day. But Dr. Kalam wrote that book, and that's such a beautiful book. And he loved children. He's no more, but his, I think his ideals live every day. And this is our motto. We believe that to really help to get the best out of our every child, which is our mission, as I mentioned in the previous slide, is to identify that every child has that fire within, and our goal is to ignite that, help ignite that. And if you do that, they seek the knowledge. Obviously, you need knowledge. You cannot do this in vacuum. So we use different subject areas, different occasions to help the bring best out of our child. But our real goal is to help find that fire. Education, the word education came interestingly from a Latin word called educere, and it meant to draw out or to bring forth. And the assumption being that it's something within that then only you can draw out or bring forth. And that goes with the idea of that our goal is to help ignite the fire, and then the child will seek the knowledge himself or herself. So that's our mission motto. And but what do we do to help do that? We do a number of different activities. We conduct webinars like this, sometimes for parents, sometimes for children. This one is more meant for parents. Students are welcome to hear as well, but sometimes we do webinars specific to children as well. We conduct math festivals, we conduct college counseling seminars, etc. All of these are, we used to do on site as well. Now everything is virtual. We conduct math tests, spelling bees. We conduct courses in math, English, spelling, vocabulary, science, coding, public speaking, debate, SAT, ACT, etc. for high school kids, AP subjects, number of subject areas. So most of them in small groups. We also do one-on-one where if a parent prefers a one-on-one mode for a child, we do that as well. And we also do contribution to educational nonprofits, such as local schools, North South Foundation, etc. So that's some of the high-level activities. So with that, and some of the courses that we offer, I'll go deeper into the language genius, talk about ELA in general, but the course that we offer in the ELA is called Language Genius. I'll talk more about it in the next couple of slides. From first, second grade all the way to high school at different levels. In math, we offer two different courses called Math Genius, which is more critical thinking focused, and Math Core, which is school math focused. We also do public speaking or debate, spelling, vocabulary, science, coding, SAT, ACT, PSAT, etc. By the way, if you have high school going children or even upper middle, but you want to learn more about SAT, ACT, and PSAT, I do a webinar right after this at 3 p.m. EST at the same link. So you're welcome to join if you have high school kids, or maybe those who want to get into high school in the next year or two, you want to learn more about that. I do a separate dedicated webinar on that. All of these, as I said, we offer in small groups, but we also offer one-on-one courses for those who desire. Obviously, it will be slightly higher fee. Usually, more high school students who are taking AP honors subjects would come for those because they might require more specialized coaching. Any questions so far?
If you have time, can you talk more about one-on-one later once you're done with the actual?
Sure, Kavita.
Yeah, thanks.
And is it specifically, are you looking in ELA or generally?
Generally.
Sure. Okay, I will.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Right. So let's talk about. Okay. So all of our courses are live interactive course classes online. They're led by experienced and passionate teachers. We keep small class sizes to encourage interaction between the students and the teacher. Once a week, academic year courses go from August all the way to May. So 10 months, the academic year, once a week. For administrative convenience, we break them into 2 semesters. August to December is our first semester, 5 months, and January to May, second semester, but the courses are continuous throughout. Depending on the course duration will be anywhere from 1 to 2 hours per week. They're all will be in either weekends or on the evenings of weekdays, because most children will have school during the weekday daytime. Max 5 to 8 students. They mentioned to encourage interaction, clarification, and although these are group courses, still the teacher knows each student, their strengths, they learn about them and individualize wherever possible. Every class will have a homework. We don't believe in giving a ton of homework. We give probably an hour of homework or so after each class, which the students can have to complete before next week. We focus more on critical thinking generally rather than just a quantity of homework. All material will be accessed through Google Classroom, which students are typically already used to Google Classroom because the schools also use Google Classroom for homework. So we use the same medium, it's easy to access. All the class material homeworks will be available in Google Classroom. We also upload recordings of all the classes into the Google Classroom, so student can refer to it anytime in future. If they miss the first 10 minutes or last 10 minutes, or even if they're there, but if they want to just review one more time, the recordings will be available. Any questions on the methodology so far? So now let's focus.
Excuse me, I just have a quick question. So for the ELA, are we going to talk about what you would offer? I know it's about reading and writing. Is it meant for high school students, or is it for lower level, middle school or elementary? How does it work?
Yep, I'm going to talk about that as well. Sorry, ma'am, I don't get your name. I guess Sriram is your son's name?
Yeah,
And your name, ma'am?
my name is Vasudha.
Vasudha. Okay, sure. I will definitely talk about that, ma'am.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? Okay, so first, I think for anything, right, first, I think it's important to understand why. And probably I'm preaching the choir here, because if you are attending this webinar, you probably already know the importance of in language arts. So, but let's look at the fundamentals of why. Now, if you look at when your child was in preschool or pre-K, or even daycare, if they went to daycare or kindergarten, what were the subjects that were focused? There were two subjects. They didn't have science, right? They don't have computer science. They don't have all other advanced subjects. What were the two subjects? They didn't have social studies. It was math and English, right? Why? Now, because those are the two foundations for every other subject that comes on later. So if the foundation is not strong, what you build on top of it doesn't matter, right? So that's why there'll be so much focus on math, well, English, because we are in an English speaking country, but whichever language, primary language, but let's just talk about English because that's the language that we communicate with. So that is essential for every other subject later on. Reading and writing effectively enhances performance in all other subject areas. If you struggle with English, you struggle with your language, you will obviously struggle with in science or social studies or even math, right? And now we all intrinsically know the importance of math. We offer all the subject areas, but we have highest enrollments always in math. I think we all know the importance of math. I see more and more over the past couple of years, there's more focus on English. Sometimes, some parents just come for one-on-one focus on English. Often it comes at higher grades when they reach towards high school or in high school, because by then, usually we realize how important is the language. But the earlier we start, the better it is. For the students who start early on, having a strong foundation in reading and writing will go a long way. And then when they go to high school, whatever they need to focus on, there's so many opportunities, right? There's a leadership clubs, etc. They need to write for almost everything. They will be asked to write a small essay, right? So if you don't have that communication skill, if you don't have that written communication skill, it'll be hard to build on. You can't build then in a short notice, just like math. How about career? Every career requires effective communication, irrespective of whichever field you go into, right? And if you have a high school student, you might have seen which subject is considered the most difficult in SAT and ACT. Which section or which subject areas, do you know which is considered the toughest, even for smart kids? It is the reading. Although there are multiple choice questions, there will be passages given. The student has to read the passage and then read the question and answer, like reading comprehension. We all know about it, right? But even those who ace math, get perfect scores, struggle often in reading. Now, if you build it early on from elementary and middle school, it should be really cakewalk when the students go to high school or college. There'll be so much reading and writing in college too. Yes, Vani. Oh, she probably just joined. Okay. You might have heard about college application essay. Every student, as part of the application, has to write one or sometimes multiple essays. And if everything else is equal, this plays a big role in college admissions. Right? Again, you cannot build that skill overnight. If you build step by step from the foundational elementary, middle school to high school, it'll become much easier when the kids go to high school. And later on, when they go to college, they do a lot of writing and reading when they go to college, right? So it is one of the two foundational subjects, math being the other one. I think we all know about the importance of math. And as I said, probably I'm preaching the choir here, because if you are in this webinar, you most likely already know it. I wish more parents know it, realize it early on. We often get many students who are in high school and come for SAT or ACT, and we see that they're already doing well in math, but they struggle with the English part, and we help them, but it's much harder at that time if they don't have the right foundational skills. It's much easier if you start early. And now, if your child is in middle school or high school, don't panic. They still, it's better to start whenever you recognize. But your child is in elementary school, this is probably a great time to start. It becomes easier when they reach the high school. Any questions? Okay, all right. So what is our language in ELA class focus on? So obviously, for the two key elements of language arts are reading and writing. So we have multiple levels. I didn't mention it here. We have so someone asked which grade level is it appropriate for. We have all the way from first, second grades to high school. We don't go by grade, we go by level, because there's a lot of continuity from grade to grade. So we can conduct a short assessment and place accordingly, or based on the discussion with the parent, based on the grade and how the child is doing. We, either I or one of our team members will help identify what is appropriate level. So, but we have for every single level, all the way from first, second grade to high school. So someone asked, I think Vasudha or someone asked that. So Vasudha, was it you? You were asking about that, which grade is your child?
Ninth grade.
Ninth grade. Okay, perfect. Yeah, we have levels that are appropriate to ninth grade. Again, with each of you will work if you are interested in. We'll discuss more about your child and identify appropriate level. Now, if you there are different ways to have individual conversation with us. There is if you go to our website, which I will show at the end of the webinar, there is it's just a registration link. It is really an inquiry link. If you inquire, so one of our team members will reach out to you, find out about your individual student situation and identify. Or actually in the chat, I'm going to leave my contacts, and you're welcome to call or text me or email me. Probably you might have my email.
I don't want to right now.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to listen to him.
That's okay if you don't want to. And that's my email. My number is 209-862-8487. You can either call or text me, or you can reach our student success manager, Sridevi. You probably get her emails as well. can reach her, or you can just text me or call me to talk individually about your particular child, about what level is most appropriate. We actually have 6 different levels in ELA, from ELA junior to what we call ELA junior, A, B, C, D, E, different levels. So place students at appropriate level. Each level covers reading at their level. It also covers writing, various styles of writing, narrative writing, expository writing, argumentative writing, obviously is appropriate at that particular level. We cover grammar, vocabulary, sentence construction, paragraph structuring, writing in various styles. Is there a question, Shashikala?
Um, yeah, actually, when you said you will be doing various types of writing, right? Like my son is a rising 6th grader, actually. And from what I see in his state test, it was mentioned that he is not proficient with providing evidence to his writing. Like whatever answers he gives, he just sticks on to the point. He doesn't explain it further. So I just wanted to know if you do some kind of coaching to motivate the kids to provide more detailed answers as that is expected.
Absolutely, that is critical. Again, it comes in certain types of writing. If you're doing, for example, argumentative writing, if you're doing narrative writing, that's not expected. Narrative is like you're writing a story, right? But if you're doing an argumentative writing, which is often as the kids go to middle school and high school, if they're writing an essay, for example, right, they have to substantiate their argument, and for that they need to do some research. Now, if it is sometimes, you write an essay, like an open essay, right? You're given the topic and you have a week to write, or sometimes you have to write on the spot. But irrespective, the expectation in case of an open essay is higher. Obviously, they have more time. They can have come up with the first draft, review it, and then rewrite it several times before going. So expectations will be higher. In a first draft essay where they're given half an hour, 1 hour, and they have to write, the expectation is not as high, but still every argumentative essay is supposed to be substantiated with evidence. It could be, the evidence could be just, if you make an assertion, you give, you can give examples why that particular assertion is correct, or you can give historical examples, or you can give more reasoning. There are different ways to substantiate, but yes. So to answer your question, absolutely. When we talk about that particular style of writing, the teacher would explain what are different ways to substantiate, and why substantiation is important, and then most important, practice. So they'll be given a topic, several topics. So most these classes are highly practice oriented. So during the class itself, sometimes they get small practice, and then as part of the homework, they will be given a topic, and they would write and send it to the teacher, and the teacher will give feedback.
So one more question is, how do you take care of the gaps? Like, as I said, he's a 6th grader. So anything in the last 1 year, with pandemic and online classes going on, I feel they haven't done enough writing work as such in school. And there seems to be a lot of gaps in his 5th grade curriculum, like in his 5th grade curriculum. So will that also be addressed in his coaching, like when the teacher works with him?
So in the group classes, to some extent. So these classes are individualized, but there are limitations, right? Because if there are 5 students within a class, if there is a big variation, it will be harder to do. But within those limits, the teacher actually works individually and gives feedback to each student. If there is a large gap, a one-on-one class may be more appropriate. And in that class, one-on-one class, absolutely, because the teacher works with the student specifically. Someone was asking me to talk more about one-on-one class at the end. I will do that. So if there is a large gap, probably one-on-one class is more appropriate. Also, again, we are not by grade. Our levels are by based on the students. Uh, so he might be going to a particular level depending on where he's right now. If you prefer group class, but one-on-one class is completely customized to each student.
Okay. And you will be assessing the child before enrolling, right? Like if he would fit better in a group or a one-on-one session.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, one of my asks is if each of you can give your email addresses and your child's grade. You can type into the chat. There is a private chat. When you go to chat, right, you can select two, just my name. It says Mels Academy. Let me change it to my name, Ram. So if you can type three things, your email address, your child's grade and name, then I will have our team email you the assessments individually at appropriate, like depending on the grade. And based on that assessment, if you can turn it in a day or so, there are two, we'll evaluate and will recommend appropriate level. First of all, group class or one-on class. If in group class, what level, etc.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Any other questions?
Ram, when will the assessment be happening? Like, can we take it any time, or is there a
It's
particular
any
time?
time. Actually it's a PDF file. We'll email the PDF file to you, and so your son or daughter can take it at home. About 45 minutes to 1 hour, and then you just scan it and send it back to us.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, I already see a couple of your emails. So if you can send it, I'll have it emailed probably today or latest by tomorrow. And then if you can turn it around in a day by tomorrow evening or latest by Tuesday, we'll get back with the recommendations. All right. So moving on. So this will obviously great foundation for SAT or ACT English when the kids go to high school. If your child is already in high school, it's okay. You can still work. It's early in the year. So may have to work. If they're already good and if you want them to get stronger, probably, we can, and if they want to take SAT, for example, if you have 11th grader planning to take SAT later this fall, we can work over the next 3-4 months. But if you have time, we can work throughout the academic year and they can take in the summer, etc. But if your kid is younger, middle school or elementary school, we have our academic year course go throughout the academic year. We have multiple levels year to year. These skills take time to build, and we'll help patiently build those skills. So other thing is a critical thinking, right? So all of our subjects focus on critical thinking. What do I mean by that? In language arts, for example, what is critical thinking? So if you look at, I think the question that one of the parents asked was that someone asked was, her son is able to write the topic that is asked, but he's often told that he didn't give enough evidence. Right? What is evidence? That's where the critical thinking comes. Right? If you are asked to write about, let's say, is climate change real? Okay, that would be a simple prompt. You can say yes or no. And I'm sure in this country, they'll probably equal number of people say either yes or no, right? But how well can you substantiate that? Why, right? In fact, it is totally okay in that particular situation to say no. It may be counterintuitive. Like most people might say yes, and but it just because you said yes, you won't get any more points because you're agreeing to something, or just because you said no, you're not going to get any negative points. It is how well you substantiate that is the most important. How well you give the evidence. So we'll definitely cover that in the class for, and then it'll be done through number of examples, right? It's not enough to tell theory on how to do it. It's all done through real prompts and essays week on week, month on month throughout the year and across multiple levels. Again, it will be next level, it will be repeated, but at a higher level, obviously. Okay, any other questions specifically on ELA?
Do you recommend anything outside your syllabus, like reading what kind of books, what level, or anything else other than the syllabus itself?
Yes, the teacher, again, it varies from level to level, right? Depending on the appropriate level, the teacher will recommend certain books to read. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so all these levels are available at group level, as I mentioned, but also available as one-on-one if you prefer. For most students, I think group classes are totally fine because we keep small class sizes with individual attention toward the students. But if you have, let's say, a high schooler and you see that he or she needs to substantially improve at a faster pace, or even a younger student, but if you have a specific need, a reason why you want more attention, or your child finds it harder to focus in a group class, so we'll have individual conversation with you, and we offer one-on-one as well. I will also talk about the fees for both. But for those who joined later, if you want an assessment to be emailed, ELA assessment to be emailed, please provide your email address in the chat. There is a private chat option. You can go to two and select my name. And so give your email address, your child's grade and name. We'll send the appropriate assessment. Okay. So now I'll quickly go over any subjects in ELA. So now I will quickly go over other subject areas overviews in case no, just much faster pace. But before I move there, any other questions or comments on English reading or writing?
Can you elaborate more about the levels in ELA? I know you said we need to take a test and get into, for example, if the student is in ELA B or C, what does that mean? Is it grade appropriate, like 7th grade, or for example, 7th grader, what is the appropriate ELA level he should be for like a good English and ELA equivalent in high school?
Yeah.
So I meant, is he in a right path?
Yeah. So it is a combination of grade and how he or she is doing currently. So a 7th grader, for example, is most likely to fall under either C or D.
Okay.
So that's what we decide based on the assessment, but also we'll have a conversation, right? You know your child. So we'll also have a conversation with you and we look at the assessment. And so those three factors: grade, assessment, and conversation with the parent. Based on that, we place at appropriate level.
Okay.
Okay, good question. Anything else? Any other questions?
Ram, 1 minute. So the teachers, who are the teachers who will be handling these kids? Like, are they qualified teachers from within US, or are they from India, like teaching from India?
Okay, good question. So for English, all the teachers are from the United States. Sometimes for math, we have a few teachers who are highly qualified from India because there are a lot of great teachers in India in math. Uh, but for English, all the teachers are from the US, and typically the most I think almost all the teachers for ELA are those who went to school here relatively recently. I found that the best teachers for English are those who have done not too far back. So typically they might be doing undergrad currently. Again, we go through a lot of filter mechanism to identify probably the top 1% uh, of the undergrads in the country. And those who have obviously done well in English themselves. Uh, in high school, for example, they took AP language, literature, got perfect scores in SAT or ACT English, but also importantly, they have been teaching other students over the past several years. Uh, they're either taking an English major or English is one of the key subject areas in college, and those who can connect and communicate with the students. So those are the typical teachers, but all of them are from the United States.
And regarding the work that's been asked, that will be assigned to the kids, is everything online, or like I have seen several other places where they just assign topics and they expect the kids to finish it by themselves. So is it something like that? How is the homework assigned? Is it like topics assigned from an online website, or do you have your own materials and um, supporting training materials?
We have our own material. We provide that. It's not online from a website or anything. We actually post that into the Google Classroom. Each class, each level, each class will have a Google Classroom assigned to those students. The teacher and the students are part of the Google Classroom. After each class, the teacher assigns that homework to the students.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my son is a freshman. So I would like to know about the fee structure as well as the course structure. Like, is it customizing for each student? And depending on their level, what's the follow up after giving the test?
Yeah, once you give the assessment, uh, once we send the assessment, email the assessment to you, so it is not online or anything, we will actually email to each parent who is interested. I think many of you already gave your email addresses. I can see in the chat, private chat, maybe not, others cannot see, but I can see. So we'll email the assessment. And so if you turn it back in the next day or two, we'll evaluate, and then one of our team members will actually call you and talk to you, because we also want to get your feedback. Sometimes no assessment doesn't tell the whole story. We want to hear from you, how they are doing, what are the goals. It's also important to know what are the goals, right? Based on that, we uh, assign a level, and along with the level, we'll tell what is the schedule. For some classes, we might have two batches. So for some, we have one batch. They're either during the weekend or the evenings on weekdays. We'll discuss the schedule. We discuss the fee. All the fees available on the website, but I'll show that right after this presentation. So all the fees are available on the website. Schedules are also published, but we'll also have a conversation with you.
Okay, I have a follow-up question. Like in your class, how many hours they need to dedicate to the SAT ELA preparation, like per week or weekend? Like how many hours the class schedule will be, and
Sure. Are you looking for specifically for SAT, or are you looking for just building English skills in general this year for a future SAT, or are you looking at SAT itself? Because we have two different courses. We have yearly course. Just give me 1 second. So I know I asked a question, but I want to elaborate a little bit. So we have a separate ELA course by different levels. That is to build the foundational skills which will help in multiple respects, including SAT. It will help with the school, English, reading and writing, and it is a more generic skill building, which is important, right? Then we have a separate SAT class in which we cover both English and math. That is specific to SAT alone. Now, SAT or ACT are much more narrowly focused on a specific set types of questions. So in a SAT English class, we only teach the types of questions and the types of concepts that are required for SAT. That is different from our ELA class, Language Genius ELA class, which I'm talking about right now, where we talk much more broadly about reading and writing skills. So both are available, and for each of you, it could be a different option. So, but Vani, in your case, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for specifically for SAT or ECT.
Okay, so we do have separate SAT or ACT classes. And in fact, I'm doing another webinar at 3 p.m. EST in another 14 minutes right after this. You can stay back if you would like. In fact, if you have anyone has high school students, I recommend that you stay back because I'll specifically talk about SAT, ACT, the structure, types of questions, number of questions, how it is scored, etc. And even if you have middle school students, you may listen into it. So we do have the class separately. And to answer your question, how much time, the ELA class are generally about hour 15 minutes, 75 minutes class, except in the ELA junior, I think maybe 1 hour. Others are hour 15 minutes class. And the homework on an average probably takes an hour, hour and a half, because we understand the students have other things going on at school, right? Uh, so we don't believe in just quantity of homework, we do quality of homework. And so that is for ELA class. SAT class, we have two types. We have a intensive short time course for which is 12 weeks, 3 months course twice a week, 2 hours a week for twice a week for 12 weeks. So there's 48 hours of total instruction over 3 months duration. That's more intensive. Generally 11th graders, maybe some 10th graders take it. We also have a long-term SAT prep or ACT. SAT and ACT are two different classes. I'll just talk about SAT, but the same thing applies to ACT as well. That is once a week throughout the academic year from now until end of May for 10 months. That will go at a slower pace. For 9th graders or some of the 8th or 7th graders also take it for preparation in general or for Duke tapes, the Johns Hopkins CTY, etc. So that goes at a slower pace. That is an hour and a half class. That will also have a homework about hour and a half per week. But the intensive short-term one is twice a week and 2 hours per session. So that requires more time commitment. But if you want to take SAT, if you're 11th grader or 10th grader taking SAT this fall, you do need to put that much time. But if you have a 9th grader or 8th grader or 7th graders, sometimes we have several 7th or 8th graders take it for prep or Johns Hopkins CTY, etc. So for that, probably the long-term prep is fine. Does it make sense, Wani?
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. But yeah, please do attend the next session if you have time, and I'll talk much more about SAT and ACT. Any
Sure.
other questions? So there are no questions. I'll quickly go over other subject areas. In math, we have Math Genius, Critical Thinking Math, which is also multiple levels. Math Core, which is a more school math that is by grade. Math Genius is by level, similar to Language Genius. Math Core is by grade because that is actually school math. Critical thinking is not school math. It is more competitive or problem solving focused math. And again, based on assessment, we place it. If you want math assessment, please, when you give your email address and your child's grade and name, you also mention if you want math assessment as well. We can send both math and ELA assessments. Then I'm going to skip over the example. I was about to give an example of Math Genius, but I don't have time for that. Public speaking, we have to build the oral communication skills. We have public speaking again at different levels. We have 3 different levels. We have Science Genius class for those who want to build. Typically, this starts more at 3rd, 4th grade on up. We have multiple levels. We have Science Genius 1 and 2. from third to probably sixth, seventh grades. And those who got mastered the science genus 1 and 2, we have more focused on biology, science, biology class, physics class, chemistry class, etc. We also have spelling class for those who want to prepare for spelling bees and vocabulary. We have coding class for those who are interested in coding and build entrepreneur skills. And SAT and ACT, PSAT, I'll talk about more about in the next webinar, as I said, at 3 p.m. EST in a few minutes. The schedules for long term, all these academic year full course are 10 months for the whole year, 1 to 1.5 hours per session, except the short term SAT, which is 2 hours per session. Weekends and weekday evenings. All the schedules and fees are on the website. I'll actually go to that there in a second. The fees are also there. So let me switch over to the website at this point. Can you all see my website? The website screen? Assuming that is a yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the second tab here that says 10th anniversary special academic year courses and webinars. If you click on that, that opens this. This will talk about each of the courses, not just ELA, it talks about all courses. By the way, the best way to reach is if you click this Maths course registration. It says registration is really inquiry form. We are not paying fee or anything at this time. Just to fill the form, and one of our team members will reach out to you. You can also select which subjects you are interested. If you have 2 kids, you can select for each kid which subject you are interested, and then our team will get in touch with you, and if required, give an assessments and identify appropriate courses and levels, etc. But if you scroll down on this same site, it talks about each of the courses, this webinar, and the schedules here. For each course, the schedules are here. Many schedules are published. If it is not published, we are still working on it, but you can still register. And if you have any specific schedule constraints while filling this inquiry form, you can actually mention, there is a comments field, you can mention any specific constraints that you have. And then all the fees are here. All the fees here are for group classes fees, and it is per semester fee. So we have 2 semesters, as I mentioned, August to December, 5 months. So each of these fees really for 5 months period. And the second semester you will pay at the beginning of second semester by January 1st. And this is what you, so so if you want to average monthly fee, you can just divide by 5. So that will give you what is average monthly fee, but it's paid semesterly for each subject and each level. Subject and level, the fees are all mentioned here. And there are also short blurbs on each course. If you are looking more for one-on-one, we also have a link for one-on-one private coaching classes. If you click on that, that opens another link. It talks more about one-on-one, and we have one-on-one registration form. But even if you fill the other form, that is okay. We will still help with that. And the fee structure for this is on a hourly basis, but you can pay either can book either 4 hours at a time, 20 hours at a time, or 40 hours at a time. So the fee obviously varies depending on the number of hours. And in case of one-on-one, it is more flexible. You can schedule, you look at your child's available schedule and teacher schedule, and this can be started anytime. All our academic year courses start now in August and go all the way through the academic year, whereas the one-on-one classes can start anytime because it's not dependent on any other student. We just look with the teacher and the student availability. So for first to 8th graders, there's the first table. So the last column is really monthly equivalent, but that is like 4 hours. A month equivalent is 4 hours. But you can also choose twice a week if you want. So you can take 8 hours a week. So the per hour you can just divide by 4. So that will tell is 185 by 4, I think is $46 an hour if it is first to 8th grader, if you're booking 4 hours. But if you are booking 40 hours, it will be lesser. I think that comes to $42 an hour. If it is SAT or ACT, again, the fee is slightly different. So one-on-one, if you are looking for one-on-one, this is where the fees are. If you are looking for group classes, that is under for academic year classes. Any other questions? All right, if there are no other questions, it's a pleasure talking to you. For those of you who are interested to learn more about SAT and ACT, PSAT, either feel free to stay back or join back in 5 minutes. It's 2:55 Eastern time now. In another 5 minutes, I'll be starting the SAT, ACT webinar. But we still have a couple of minutes if you have any questions. All right, if there are no questions, I will put it on mute for the next 4 minutes, grab some water and be right back.